And finally, we're live. So, welcome to all the audience. This is our third show in conversation with SaahiHain, and today we have very special guests with alongside us. Firstly, I would like to give a short introduction about them. Firstly, we have Mr. Shondip Kundu. He has been with us in our previous sessions as well. Now, he is a multicultural senior executive who has hands on industry experience of almost 10 plus years and with depth of knowledge in strategy management, financial management, operation management, change management, turnaround stories, market communications, and most importantly, leadership skills. Was instrumental in handling and analyzing business and field and responsibilities, synchronizing business organization management, financial practices, policies, systems, and process development and leadership roles. He was involved in scaling of business, transformation of management, and optimization of business processes and delivery with strategy, operation, and most importantly, technology. So, welcome, Shandibda, in today's live session. Over to you. Would you like to say
Thank you.
something?
Thank you, Saptasha. Thank you for that nice introduction. And thank you for today. As you said, it's very important. It's the second session for us, and absolutely, I'm sure a lot of founders, a lot of budding entrepreneurs are listening to us, and what we are actually going through the startup phase. So, thank you, Saptasha. Thank you for the introduction.
Thank you so much. Now, I would like to introduce the next person in the panel. He is none other than Mr. Orijit Mukherjee. He is the co-founder of SaahiHain. He doesn't come much into the front line, but yet he has a lot of experience. He started his career as a system engineer at IBM and built many internal tools for automations. Moved to product design and development. He has a biggest strength is improvisation and learning abilities both in professional and his real life. He has been a travel enthusiast and mostly interested. He has a keen interest in trekking as well. Now I would request Mr. Mukherjee to take over and say a few words.
Thanks, Shoptasho, for your kind words. And basically, till now, I haven't been in the forefront specifically with Sahiye. But today's discussion is such a topic which is my actually forte, and I would like to contribute some of my knowledge that I have been doing for quite some time at Sahiye and also through my experience at IBM. So, thank you for that introductions.
Okay. Now I'd like to give a short introduction about today's discussion and let our speakers speak. So we know India's startup ecosystem is thriving, and one particular area of interest is that of artificial intelligence, AI, and machine learning. Now, AI and analytics startups in India attracted US almost 762.5 million in funding in back in the year 2019. And in India, it is currently source of 8% of the world's AI talent. But we all know what happened in 2020, and still we are trying to cope up in the same way in 2021. The corona cases are rising day by day, but still we have to stay together and fight it and make a better place for all of us. So now, without much ado, I'd just like to ask the first question today to Mr. Mukherjee that what is actually artificial intelligence in the most layman's language? Over to you, Mr. Mukherjee.
Okay. So basically, artificial intelligence is a term that describes when an application or a machine that actually mimics human function. Okay. And human functions like human behaviors, which is one of the most common behavior, that is learning, problem solving. So this is in a descriptive way of what artificial intelligence is. So before coming to the next part, to help the audience understand uh, in a most layman's language, I want to come to the history of artificial intelligence. So in 1950s, this artificial intelligence started. This era has started, where scientists are discussing that they must do something which can mimic, do something in terms of programming or forming a program or computers which can mimic humans. Now, in 1956 specifically, this term artificial intelligence was coined. So it was coined by two scientists at a Dartmouth College, which is in Hanover, and so basically that from that time this artificial intelligence has started. So after quite a decade after when it was started, then there comes a phase where artificial intelligence was not at all in a very good state. Like the government has stopped their funding. The research was not at all very good actually. So what we called a dark phase or a winter in artificial intelligence. Then again, Britain government has started with artificial intelligence after seeing very progress in Japan specifically. We all know that the Japan is such a country where in our childhood we always come to hear from news that robots are making these things and that thing. So I as a child was very fascinated by it. So yes, it was Japan who has initiated these things, and Britain has completely after seeing their progress, they have reinvested their government funding projects in artificial intelligence. So basically, what happens in 1997, IBM has formed a Deep Blue, which has become the first computer to defeat a chess player who is a grandmaster at that time, whose name was Gary Kasparov. So basically, this is all about the history of artificial intelligence. Why I want to tell our audience the history, because now I will come to what it is. So people are always fascinated by this buzzword. What is artificial intelligence is? But the real thing is that let me give you a very brief example. Like we all are using some kind of products which is using artificial intelligence right from we wake up in the morning. Like we most of us by now have smartphones, so we unlock our phone by fingerprints and facial recognition, which is one of the technology which is called facial recognitions, which is called a pattern recognitions in artificial intelligence. So we have seen that each and everything like pattern recognition, face detection, speech recognition, and most important thing is a translation, because we Indian has a diverse language. So when we don't know any language, particularly we translate with the help of Google. So this is also a brilliant example of artificial intelligence is. But currently we are in Facebook, so people like to know how Facebook is doing artificial intelligence. So I guess many of all our audience have seen some kinds of video which is marked as violent in nature, so it contains some graphics content in violence. So how how Facebooks are actually recognizing videos which is uploaded by people which has graphics of violence. So we see that these videos didn't play automatically. We have to uncover the video. So actually, it happens like it's all the effect of artificial intelligence is the AI what it is actually using. Specifically, it's detecting that particular trait, the particular pattern, as well as the interactions with the audience to build one of the most sophisticated things. I guess many of our audience has already seen what it is. So yes, briefly, I have given a metaphor to help our audience understand what artificial intelligence is, but it's a very broad sector. If we boil down to technology, if we bifurcate artificial intelligence into subparts, what we are using is not artificial intelligence, but a very subset or a very well researched part of AI, which is called deep learning, where we are mimicking the human neuron formation into the machine learning code. So that's what, in short, I want to give a novice idea. In a layman's term, I want everyone to understand what AI is actually.
Thank you, Mr. Mukherjee. That was really a very simple yet insightful details about AI and what we think. But as you have rightly said, when we were young, we all were fascinated with the concept that robots are being made and they are making such development. I can just right now remember of a film that was Iron Man, that it had Jarvis. That was in some ways or the other it was AI. But we
Correct.
all know that Iron Man himself was a billionaire and he was a business person as well. Later,
Right.
although people thoughts took over him. So with that link, I would straight away go to Mr. Kundu that how AI is important, its implication in this startup era. Over to you, Mr. Kundu.
First of all, thank you, Arijit. I was really listening to you very carefully when we were talking about how AI was evolved and what are the different arenas where AI can be utilized. That is very, very important. But for in case we're talking about startups, if you have to listen to a little bit of the financial crisis we faced in 2008, I have to talk about, because if you observe very carefully, uh, just as I said, in India and in global world, basically the concept and the focus on artificial intelligence, deep learning, and absolutely machine learning actually came post 2011. So the reason was the fact that let me explain what happened in the subprime crisis, which was in 2008. 2008 crisis was one of the biggest financial crises in the world history. The reason was the fact that people came to know that all the financial institutions are correlated. A second, and data crunching. Data was said to be the fact that people analyzed, in financial things, you have to analyze data to come up with a product, right? So basically, the product was which was most common and was misutilized was the mortgage industry, and absolutely the subprime assets, right, were sold by the banks. So this data was not actually prepared well. The data was not crunched well. It was thought that real estate is something which can never fail. This was the concept of the investment bankers in 2008. So, a lot of money was pumped in Goldman Sachs and any kind of IB bankers, the biggest Lehman Brothers, absolutely, were the creators of, crisis, Citibank, when they came up with this kind of data. Then they understood the fact that analyzation of data and data crunching is very important. So we have some data we call it raw data, and we call information, right? So we have raw data when we have information, and this is actually converted through the process of artificial intelligence and the data analytics techniques, right? So post 2008 crisis, people started thinking that data is the next oil, and the financial gurus felt the fact that yes, absolutely, if technology has to be utilized and data can be crunched, it can be utilized in a way where all the business processes and business ways can be amplified with the help of the data or the information which we have generated. So startups, and I say, I remember when I had a discussion with you in 2011, we talked about 2011 evolution era in startups in India. Basically, they started talking about this science, because the Western world already in 2008 or pre 2008 had already talking about the data science or artificial intelligence, but India was not at all ready for that kind of science. And even if today you are talking about automation, or you are talking about deep learning, still I would say India is still in the learning phase, right? So startups have started doing it. As you say, as you rightly said, that I remember people talked about talking to mobile phones, long back. I'm talking about 2009, because I remember I got my first phone in 2009. I got it very late, please don't mind, right? So 2009 I got a phone, and people started talking about the fact that there might be some kind of a telephonic system where you can talk to the phone and it will do your things diligently. Now if you listen to people at that point in 2009, and I'm talking about in 2021, now it looks very natural that you are talking to a phone and it's giving data instantaneously to you, right? So information, it has become really, really easy, right? So what I suggest, the fact that had 2008 crisis never happened, 2011 would not have happened, and absolutely 2021 when we are standing across, uh, all the startup founders are thinking, all the data analysts are thinking, okay, I can do this job in 10 minutes. How can I make sure? Can I have an algorithm which can do the job in 5 minutes? Can I have an algorithm, please? So this is the psychological change, or the whole transformational business change, which we can see right now with startups. So if you ask me, what are the implications in startups? There's huge implications. The whole business has changed. Absolutely. When we talk about startup right now, they talk only about technology. How can you make sure that any business processes can be made easier with the help of a technological input? So this is how startups think now, right? It's not about traditional model anymore, right? So you talk about Uber. Uber doesn't have any car of its own, right? It's a carless app which you're using, isn't it? And we talk about, like, there are so many things. Oyo doesn't have a hotel of its own, isn't it? It's just a kind of, they're helping the hotel industry. So this is basically how the technology is taking the ground, how the technology is changing people. And absolutely, I feel that in the coming months or coming years, uh, India will also be a hub of the automation industry, which the Western is going faster as compared to in India. But if you ask me that is India developing? Yes, India has started developing the concept, and we have a lot of startups. Which, for example, let me tell you, I came across something called expense management system a few days back. So a lot of traditional companies never thought about expense management system. So there is a startup who is actually using technology for implementing the expense management. So uh, you have so the bottom line is, which I want to tell to the panel, and very importantly, is the fact that uh, right now it is not about doing the job. Right now, it's the shortest way of doing the job. So this is what for me is artificial intelligence and automation.
Thank you, Mr. Kundu, and that was really well said. And we can see that there has been numerous implications of AI in the startup generation, and there are several businesses, age-old businesses, who are using AI for the development. We'll come back to this in a while. I would just like to give a brief introduction what SaahiHain is all about as well, because we are having this in our official Facebook page. Well, SaahiHain is basically a video live commerce platform where sellers can come live and sell their products directly to the customers of their locality or across the world. Now, we are trying to bring several new concepts like one-to-one video shopping, where people will be having the privacy yet the experience which they used to have long time before even COVID, when they used to go for shopping in their local markets. Now, without much delay, I'd like to go on to our next question, is that how can technologies break barriers in modern day business? And I'd like Mr. Mukherjee to address this question. Over to you.
Hello, am I audible?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so actually, that's a brilliant question, like how technology breaks barriers. So before coming to the point, I will like to tell about a story, because a story helps audience understand how technology breaks barriers in businesses. So it started all before coming to this point. So this is a kind of technology revolutions that already been taken place. So before coming to technological revolution, I will come to the point of industrial revolution. What industrial revolution is? So we are currently four revolution. First, it started with first industrial revolution that uses water and steam to build production. Okay. Now the second industrial revolution uses electricity to actually to mass produce products. And later, there is a third industrial revolution, which is a technology revolution, which is specifically, I will say that it involves actually using technology, electronics, and also automation to increase production limit and to minimize human resources and increase operational efficiency. So this is what we have seen till third industrial revolution. Now it is the age for fourth industrial revolution, which is a digital revolution, which we are seeing it already. So before I will very much focus on digital revolution, because the other things are though valid, I will not like, I don't have that much expertise to say on that particular topic. But I will most importantly tell our audience today what is the importance of fourth industrial revolution, that is the digital evolution. So primarily, I bifurcates the topic into four sectors, specifically the education sector, the health sector, the fintech sector, and social commerce and e-commerce sector. So starting with education sector, like what's changed? So we all have seen in recent times, like after COVID, how digital connectivity helps all the key components of the education, like students, teachers, faculty managements, to virtually connect with each other and use tools like Google Meet, Zoom, and many different others. So we have seen that if if just imagine if COVID will happen back in 2005 or something like that, how pathetic will it become for us? Or what will be the situation in that time? We cannot imagine. Now we are in such a phase that at least the basic needs is fulfilled through these digital technologies. So in education, we have seen that students, the school students are taking their classes from home. The college students are also taking classes from home. So this is all about this effect of digital revolution in the education sector. We have also seen a lot of startups actually, which have been started previously before the COVID era, and currently have evolved in this course of time, catering to these needs of different needs of this education system. So we indeed have seen technology, how it's changed the education industry and also the business also. Now I will come to the health sector. So we have seen that after, I guess there is a noise is coming.
No, no, I think it's really audible.
It's perfectly fine.
Perfectly
Okay,
Please
fine.
continue.
You keep on
maybe
speaking.
it's my problem. Am I audible now?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So let's come to the health sector. So we have seen that in usual sense, a vaccine, developing a vaccine needs two to 2.5 years of time. But with the actually this how technology comes into play and how digital revolutions actually help these vaccine pharmacies, the vaccine makers, to speed up their operations, to speed up the trial
Absolutely.
process. So this is all the effect of the digital revolution that currently has been happening, because a vaccine, the researchers has been doing their researches, submitting the whole data, their data has been synchronized, then the trial phase begins, which has been happening in some other parts of the demography. So all this has been real time communicated with each other with the help of internet and digital technologies. We have been using lots of tools that accelerate the process. We cannot imagine if the same thing happens 10 years or decade before, how we will deal with the situation. So it's a good thing that how technology and digital, specifically the, because I will always focus on this digital revolution thing. So how digital revolution is actually affecting the health industry. So the next sector I will focus on will be the fintech sector or the finance, the payments, all the things. So it's no denying the fact that people has most come to use products like Google Pay, Phone Pay. Hello.
Yeah, very audible. Just keep on
So
speaking.
no, actually, Sandeep, can you just keep on mute, or because I am hearing a lot of background noises. Yeah, 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 yeah. So what happened actually in fintech? What we'll see that UPI payments, which is one of the greatest innovations in India. I say that even Google has tweeted that we should also take UPI to the world. So what we happen that what we see actually that people are taking payments in real time. Okay, so that's actually accelerated the whole economy. Imagine a business selling some items to a customer, and they have to wait for a check or for a bank transfer, and it takes quite some days. most of them has not access to laptops, internet banking. How chaotic situation this was. Even I was there. I feel that it's very hectic. Imagine now the business who even is not only in e-commerce, who wants to take payments, any restaurants or any shops or grocery shops, it's real time. We buy items, we pay via UPI. So I guess fintech, the innovations or digital innovations in fintech, we have already seen, and how massively it affects the whole economy, especially specifically in the retail sector. So, say, considering the next point, I have already told about the retail sector. So, I will come to the point about e-commerce and social commerce. So we already know that e-commerce is like, when we come about e-commerce, we come across many different sites who are big names and we purchase often. There are Amazons, there are Flipkart, which are already operating in India at such a large scale. So this thing has started in back in 2009, and people by now has been already accustomed with e-commerce things. But yet, I will say that only 10% of our Indian population is English speaking people, and the rest speaks in their native languages. So what actually happened, that people at the age of 30 years to 50 years more like assistive shopping, means they need assistance. What we usually see in offline shopping, we go to one store, we ask the store owners or the executives, show me this collection, I want this thing under this range. So this is the assistive shopping. So what like social and video commerce is actually they are bringing this assistive shopping to the customers, so that people, we can have a higher reach of these sectors of people who find it quite difficult even at these times to purchase anything via e-commerce. So here comes the point where digital technology plays an important part in this video commerce industry, because what we see in that after COVID-19, a lot of sellers has been doing lives through our platform. Like I will specifically maintain that there has been a lot of boost in the customer engagements. A lot of people are coming into our platform and ordering from their favorite stores, specifically by seeing the videos, which is not possible in e-commerce specifically. So yes, the digital revolution not only just changes the people, it changes for the greater good, as per my belief. There are many pros and cons. I always like to focus on what we get, what is the pros that we have. So overall, I can say that these are the things I want to highlight about technology breaking barriers in business, specifically the digital revolution, what it breaks in the recent business. So that's it from my side. I guess, hope you all have understand my point. Mute, you are on mute.
I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. So,
Yeah.
okay, thank you, Ajay. That was really well said. Now, as you have rightly said that there has been boost in the customer engagement, not only in our platform but also in several places where people are more being able to interact and being more. What should I say? The engagement has been much more easier, and there has been a certain growth in the business proceeds. Considering this point in mind, keeping this, I would straight away move to Mr. Kundu, asking him how can AI actually help to amplify the business growth? And over to you.
Uh, First of all, thanks, Saptasha. It's a very good question. The reason is the fact that when you talk about AI, and since you have correlated one thing, which I was very fascinated about watching in my childhood, especially the Jarvis thing. Jarvis talking, Iron Man talking to the Jarvis, and if you observe that very carefully, Iron Man was a businessman. You are very right, right? So Jarvis actually used to create a model for him. If you observe very carefully, he used to create a model for him with the data which was being provided to him, and that model helped him to analyze how much how much he can penetrate the data as per to his business as well, and for finding the the devils he used to find it, right. So basically, if you observe very carefully, business actually has two aspects. The first is a vision of a business, and second is the growth of the business, right? So any vision of a business can be achieved in a way where there are in a way or parts as per the demand and usage of the the setup. For example, if I say in traditional setups which India was actually harboring till now, they had their own way or mechanism of achieving those vision or concepts. But slowly and steadily, when artificial intelligence got developed and absolutely technology was reproduced, it was very important that these kind of methodologies should change and should make sure that it increases or amplifies the business growth in the ways faster than the traditional ways, right? So, for example, we talk about in the COVID times, we're living in COVID times, as Arijit rightly pointed out, talking about the vaccine. In the creation of the vaccine itself, the AI technology was being used to find the best of the resources, which amplified the production of the vaccine, right? So had it been like 2011 or 2012, like 3 4 years back, this would have sounded nearly impossible. But now, since we are living in an era where technology can be utilized for finding better answers, it has it artificial intelligence is actually helping us to find the best solutions and helping to develop finer solutions, right? I would say best, not best, but finer solutions. So it's the best example I would give you in this COVID times is edutech industry. If you observe very carefully, you come across like Baiju or Akash or everybody. The Baiju buying Akash, right? Uh, a few months back. The basic important fact is that the edutech industry, especially teachers, professors, have understood the fact that how to utilize the technology and reach to students without you know physically interacting with each other, and how to make sure not only the teaching part, but how to evaluate the students sitting at homes when they have done their coursework or research work, right? So
Right.
things have basically changed from where from 2011. So, and absolutely everybody, every industry, I take right now, financial technology, edutech, and agritech. If you talk about startups, these three streams are doing, and apart from that, the retail industry, as Arijit talked about, a $3,600 billion industry, which is growing really, really fast. So these four industry sectors are doing really, really well, and you have to see how they have utilized technologies for the betterment of the business, which absolutely Arijit will talk more in a later sense. But the point is, or the bottom line, which I want to say, is the fact that if you talk about fintech, for example, uh, the in finance, we talk about stocks and mutual funds. Basically, people understand finance, they talk about stocks and mutual funds. So 2 3 years back, probably understanding a stock means making a financial model sheet in Excel, financial model sheet, and explaining it to the investors. So this was the way, a traditional way of telling the investors that please invest in this stock, which is doing really, really good. But what does right now 2021 tell us? Nowadays, investing means having algorithms. These model sheets are converted into algorithms, and they tell you it automatically, boss, these are undervalued shares, these are the overvalued shares, right? And it is easier for an investor to put money, since it is based on real time data, right?
Absolutely.
So this is how the business amplification has been done through the use of technology and resources. Second comes, the next sector which I feel is very, derivatives. Derivatives is something where a lot of investment pours in financial sector. So if you observe derivatives, they have a lot of underlying assets, right? And let me tell you very frankly, because we have gone through, and I specifically talk about the 2008 crisis again and again. The reason was is the 2008 crisis was an eye opener to the post-industrial revolution. The reason is because it actually opened the ways and the gateways of technology, automation, and utilization of resources. So, post 2008, if you talk about mutual fund industry or derivative industry, we talk about derivatives industry, where the underlying asset is an important criteria. Underlying asset, if you if you have and the analysis of the risk and return of the underlying asset is very, very important. So this underlying asset analysis was perfectly done by this automated technology with the kind of algorithms, right? So night of fintech is not all about giving gangs, on CNBC or something like that. Yes, I'm not saying that fund managers are not important. I'm not saying that physical interaction to investors are not important. But absolutely, these algorithms and technology are also giving right data, right? And they cannot be ignored. If you take a research which was just recently published in America, these algorithms are being used by 40% of the people to invest in the market. Are you getting my point? How things have changed, So Warren Buffett probably, I'm not saying Warren Buffett is the biggest investor in the world. He is not that a usage of technology, right? User of technology, but absolutely Warren Buffett ways have been used to convert it into technology, and now people are using it. So markets are totally different from what was there in 2008 or 2011. Next, coming an important sector I would talk about is agrotech, right? Uh, Agriculture is something which government is really focused in from the last 2-3 years, and agrotech is something where people are talking is a talking point. So agro technology is where the automation has happened a lot in the last 1.5 years, starting from the product procurement to put in supplies and giving directly without the using of middlemen. No middlemen. There are a lot of middlemen in agriculture. So this artificial intelligence technology has helped in the so that the middleman has been removed from this process. Okay. And finally, the retail sector, which I say is now the most booming sector, right? I said that there are $3,600 billion market. I said it's growing at the rate of 10 to 12%, right? Which Arijit will talk more about. But the
Correct.
point which I want to say is that you have to understand that how these middlemen have been eliminated with the help of the technology, which has led to the amplification of business. You talk about Swiggy, you talk about Zomato, right? You are directly talking to whom? You are directly talking to the people who are selling you food, right? The restaurant guys, right? So you are utilizing. There is no way. This technology has helped in reaching people easier, reaching people faster, and absolutely, and in the growth of the business. So. One word I would say that how the business thinking and vision of all the startups or the organization have changed post 2011 by the use of technology has to be analyzed and interpreted in a deeper sense because of the fact that the consumer taste and consumer ideology is also changing. So the companies have to understand that how to utilize this technology and resources into their traditional system to make sure that the business amplifies not just 1x or 2x. Now they're talking about 3x or 4x growth, right, in the years to come.
Correct. So I would
Oh,
like,
yeah. Okay.
It is saying
I'll.
something. He's like to add something.
Yes, yes. Over to you,
yes,
Mr. Murali.
actually, I would like to make a small, like I like to differ in one part. Like actually, what Sandeep you already told our audience that yes, the middleman has been eliminated, but we seen that they are not completely eliminated, but they are being an integral part of the new age business model, where they are also given a space to grow actually, because Yes, there are many sectors where the actual middleman has been eliminated, but specifically why I am telling this, because we believe that we are in such a sector, specifically the retail, where all the distributors, all the middlemen, we are also giving space for them to in our part of the business model. So that's only one thing I would like to differ in this perspective. And apart from that, yes, it's been what Sandeep has told our audience, that it's been a brilliant thing what this AI has implicated in startups. So back to you, Shaptashaw. Uh,
Yes. Thank you. And that has been absolutely well said by both of the gentlemen in this panel. And this panel has been so much enticing that I forgot to thank all our audience who had joined us. And thank you for being so patient and listening to this panel. If you have any questions, please mention your questions in the comment section, and I would request our gentlemen to address them. And we have been in this panel for quite a some time, and we have moved to the last segment where we would be asking our final question, and I would request both the gentlemen to address to this and call an end to this event. So my final question is, how is artificial intelligence being helpful in organizing the unorganized retail sector? Because when we see that there has been a lot of talking about retail sector being one of the biggest booming industry, we always observe that it has been really very unorganized and very less
mhm.
people trying to penetrate in this market because of several layers. So I would request Mr. Mukherjee to say some insights about how AI can actually make a difference in retail sector and how SaahiHain can actually be one of those flag bearers. So over to you, Arijit.
Okay. Basically, I would like to tell that how actually AI is helping this retail sector. To get into the point, I can I have to tell a couple of startups in this space which are already solving problems in retail regarding how business can predict their orders, what will be the sales, and also about customer loyalty, smart inventory, which is one of the most crucial things. So all of these things are being solved with the help of AI. Now coming to the point, like how Sahihe is utilizing AI, it's a kind of a little different, because we are a video commerce platform where we actually let our customer to buy from directly from the sellers, either by chatting and with the help of video communications. So what is the AI thing in Sahihe, that I will let the audience know. But first, before that, I need to tell something about what we are seeing nowadays. So through video commerce platform, what happens is the seller broadcast a live stream, and people are engaging with them through comments, through they can actually get their particular requirement, they can ask any queries, they can chat, they can even sometimes bargain also. So they can even ask the seller that I don't want this thing, I want that thing, I want red color, I want black color. So there are lots of comments that are already being shared in videos which are being done by the sellers. So customers have different kinds of requirements. So what we are doing at Sahihe in AI part is, like, we are gathering all the customers which are actually communicating with the sellers and have their different requirements, to understand the better requirements of the customers, personalizations, and also help the retailers to actually predict their inventory. Like at Happen, it's like we all know that there are offline shops which can who can predict better what their customers want. So it's not, in today's world, it's not and based on intuitions, it should be backed up by some solid data. So what Sahihe is doing in terms of AI is, we are predicting customers' behavior in terms of shopping, what type of things they want. Either they want a black sari with a zari border, either they want a blue sari with hand work. So all kinds of these things we are actually collecting, and how they are interacting with the sellers. We are giving the sellers an insight that your customers wants this thing, so that they can have a loyal customer base, and also customers get satisfied that they can have the collections very organized in SaahiHain, and people are bringing more and more niches collection to our platform. So that's what we are doing at SaahiHain with the help of AI. I would also like to mention, I guess, people who already know SaahiHain. So basically, in short, people can when ask me what is SaahiHain. So basically, SaahiHain is a live commerce platform where customers can discover their trusted shops and shop by video communication. So which we are creating an age-old shopping experience in the form of digital hut bazaar. So why I'm telling this, because we each and every day we are improving our products. We have seen that people are coming into our platform. Lots of people lots of people are coming, lots of people are inquiring, and lots of new kind of sellers of different categories. Like we have added a new category, fishes, because people has been quite fascinated by aquaspace industry. So we have connect with some aquarium dealers who have been selling live on SaahiHain with fishes. So these are the things that we are coming up with, some niche products with nurseries, like people like plants. So these kinds of things we are bringing into the SaahiHain. And not only we always prefer customers first, we always want that our sellers who are small and medium scale sellers to flourish in our platform. But for that, everyone have to come live, because until and unless you come live and do video communication with your audience will not come to know about your product. That's our vision of the company is, and that's why what we want to do. And AI is just, we consider ourselves as a tech enabled platform. So AI, though not being a core part of our startup, but AI is already in each and everything, and we are using personalization. I have already mentioned that the kind of insight that we are giving to the sellers regarding what kind of things the customers are actually asking. So these kind of things actually people get benefited for. So yes, it's all about that's the one thing I can tell about implication of AI and how we are using AI in SaahiHain specifically.
I would add to that Rajit and his team is actually looking for consumer delight, customer delight, basically,
Customer
isn't it?
delight.
Rather than customer satisfaction. So looking for a customer delight, that is the prime motto of Sahi Hai. So basically, Sahi Hai, if Satyasha, if you can tell a little bit more how idea of because you have been the person when asking questions. So let you also tell something how the idea of Sahi Hai was developed, right? And how the things have been materialized, and how the how we have helped the retailers in getting a platform where they can actually sell their products, brand their products, and reach just as Rijit said, that it is a real time inventory we are talking about, right? So these are the USPs of Sahi Hai. So if you can just tell us a little bit about the short in a smaller, in a short sense, it would be great.
Absolutely. Thank you, Sandeep, for giving me this opportunity to talk amongst these esteemed speakers. So, in gist, to say what Sahiya is actually doing, just the way Sandeep has already mentioned that Uber, Ola, Zomato, Swiggy, all those big names who actually don't have their own inventories, own restaurants, or own cars, Sahiya is trying to be something of that sort in the e-commerce sector in the broad sense. To narrow down our sector, we call ourselves the video live commerce sector, where we invite people, rather sellers, who have their own inventories to come into our platform and address the customer. Now, when Sandeep has rightly talked about delight of the customer, it is often very important that people often forgets after putting a product into the cart. So people must not forget it. They should be so enticed to see a product. Okay, this is exactly what I wanted to see, and yes, I want to buy it right now. The impulse of buying a product can be satisfied only with the platform of SaahiHain, where people would be getting the opportunity to directly communicate and say what they actually want. As Arijit has already said, the color preference, the taste preference, the geographic location. We often talk about shopping from the famous markets of some heritage places. We often talk about, as a boy, I might feel like dressing like a Sardar from Punjab, getting those heavy kurtas, because we know in India it's a tropical country. It's quite hot, so we are trying to reach those markets and get those niche products. And as Arijit has already mentioned about exotic fishes as well, in the similar way, we are trying to bring in all those niche products which people are often not getting hold of in some other platform, because we are trying to bring in all those sellers, and we are trying to make our customers delighted to settle into one solution that would be SaahiHain for all their shopping requirements, not only in lifestyle products but also in home decors, in other ways. So with this, I guess I have been able to give a small and short description of what SaahiHain is doing by amalgamating the AI, not in the correct sense, but also applying it to the extent so that we can fulfill the needs of the hour. So we have been quite, this has been quite a long session, almost 52 minutes, and I'd like to thank both our speakers for getting their time out from their busy schedules and joining me in this panel of SaahiHain and addressing the people and making a very clear vision about AI and startups, because we know that we have several audiences who are maybe budding entrepreneurs and planning to implicate this AI technology into their own startups, maybe in some other sector, but they will just be able to understand how important AI is and how important its role is going to be. So thank you to both the speakers, Mr. Arjit Mukherjee and Mr. Sandeep Kundu, for getting their time out from their busy schedule and joining me. We will be
Thank you.
joining again and have some more interesting live sessions with some new speakers, and maybe we would be having our own co-founder and one of our lead pillars of SaahiHain, Mr. Sandeep Kundu rightly said, to be in our next panel discussions. So I'd like to end this and thank you for joining. Stay safe, stay home, because we all know COVID-19 is growing again. This is the second wave, and if we can fight together, it will be better day. So thank you. Have a nice day.
Thank you,
Thank
Saptash.
you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Saptasha.
Thank you.